You feel so lost. You feel alone. You feel ashamed. You're concerned about what people are thinking about you right now.
What do you do when your battle chooses you? What do you do when something shows up on your doorstep that you did not directly cause, choose, or definitely anticipate? Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean you have to be afraid. Just because you feel discouraged doesn't mean you have to be discouraged. Just because you have fear doesn't mean fear has to have you.
The sentence out of your mouth is a story that you are putting out. I'm not gonna make it. I quit. Let's get a divorce. Business is never coming back. We've lost too many people. I've made too many mistakes. I'm a failure. Nobody can help me. I've done too many bad things. I don't know what's coming out of your mouth, but it's a death sentence.
Don't have regrets, because the regrets are only gonna make you feel less of who you are. We're not meant to always have a good day, but this is a day to celebrate breathing, to celebrate life, to celebrate another day, to carry on the good fight. So fight! Don't regret. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Take a chance. Keep taking more chances. When other people are looking down on you, you keep looking up. But look up and look past the negativity. Because the ones that are looking down, they don't realize what you're doing to get back up. While they looking down, focusing on your failures, focusing on your misery, focusing on all of your hardships, they don't realize the fight that you have within you.
Life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you what you'll accept. If you'll accept failure, hardships, disappointment, that's exactly what life's gonna give you. If you wanna win, you gotta show up and demand success and fulfillment and happiness for yourself. When life punches you and clobbers you to the ground, it's your job to find the strength, find the intestinal fortitude to pick yourself up and fight back. I'm gonna build something. I'm gonna make something happen. I am not gonna live and die and not leave anything in the earth as a sign that I was here. I'm gonna build something. I'm gonna harness this challenge and turn it into my triumph because I will not stop.
Come on, you need to remember, this is not the first time you cried. This is not the first time you were short of breath. This is not the first time you didn't see a way clear. This is not the first time you were hurt. This is not the first time your heart was broken. This is not the first time you didn't have enough money. This is not the first diagnosis that came up from behind.
There's opportunity to get stronger and get smarter and get faster and get tougher and get more stable and get more resilient and get better. When you break, you have the opportunity to show the world, the whole world, what you are really made of. The fight isn't over. The fight is just beginning. And as you crawl up and out of that dismal and wretched place, and you're covered in blood and sweat and dirt and filth as you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
When you have a dream and you start working toward it and you share that dream that you have with other people, they're not going to see it like you do. They'll laugh at you. They'll think you're crazy. And sometimes you're gonna think you're crazy too. You're gonna question yourself.
It's hard. It's hard when everyone around you is doubting you and making fun of you and telling you to give it up, that you're wasting your time. It's very hard. But you know what? Every great successful person was ridiculed before they were revered.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it. Get on with it.
Stop telling your visions to other people, because they're not going to see it. Why you think you keep imagining opening a business? Why you keep imagining graduating, getting a better job? Why do you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining driving a really nice car? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that? Because the universe is talking to you. It's showing you something that it has for you.
Your perception has everything to do with how this year is going to work. It is not what you perceive about me. It's what I perceive about me.
Have opinions and feelings about yourself independent of the feedback. The day that you allow the opinions of the outside world to dictate the way you feel about yourself, it is the beginning of the end of you living a blessed and self-loving, secure life. It is not the car that I drive or any of the jewelry that I own or the size of my house that defines my self-worth. I'm hot. I'm hot. I'm hot when you don't think I'm hot. I'm amazing when you don't think I'm amazing. I love me even if you stop loving me. You can say the nastiest, meanest, evilest shit that you could ever conjure up. It will never change the way I feel about myself.
It's not what they say about you that matters. It is what you say about you that threatens your destiny. You will never be defeated by what they say about you. You will be defeated by what you say about you.
I am great, and I don't owe anybody an apology. I am phenomenal, and I don't owe anybody an apology. I am going to do great things, and I don't owe anybody an apology.
Stand up for your dream. Stand up for what you want in your life. You've got to talk to yourself day in and day out. You've got to say, yes, I can make it. The last chapter to my life has not been written yet. If you judge me now, you'll judge me prematurely. I'm still in the process of transforming my life. I'm still in the process of becoming. Yes, yes.
It's your dream. Nobody's gonna see it like you do it. It's your dream. Nobody's gonna feel it like you feel it. It's your dream. Nobody's gonna be as dedicated to it as you are. It's your dream, and they don't have to understand, and they don't have to like it, and they don't have to do it. It doesn't make a difference. It's your dream, and you, my friend, have been given the task to make it happen, and you can't let anything stop you from doing what you were called to do. I was created to do great things, and I will no longer ask others for their permission.
I don't expect you to believe in my dream like I believe in my dream. And the problem with some of y'all is you want somebody else to support your dream. It's yours. I don't owe you a dime. It's your dream. If you wanted to have it, get your butt up and make it happen. If you wanted to have it, rise and grind. Because this is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today.
I need specifics. What are you doing on Monday? What are you doing on Tuesday? What are you doing on Wednesday? You need to be very specific. It's time to put your pieces together of your puzzle. I put mine together. I put this life together. I made this happen. Nobody helped me to get here. I had to get up. I had to go to class. I had to read. I had to study. I had to write. I understood that the dream is real, but the lifestyle is real. You gotta earn this. Let the dream strip you. Let it remake and mold you. Life's gonna whip your butt. Life is gonna bully you. Stop crying. Be demanding. Let it hit you, but don't let it punk you.
We all go through it. Some of you, though, you let your pain pump you. You let your pain make you quit. You have come too far to quit now. You have invested too much to quit now. You have lost too much to quit now. Get a reward for your pain. Don't cry about it. Don't whine about it. Get a reward for it. And for some of you, you stop dreaming. You dream for a week and you stop because things around you don't look good. You dream for a month, and when you get hit in the mouth, you quit and you give up. You dream for a while, and when people tell you crazy, when people tell you stupid, when people tell you can never get done, you stop dreaming and you go back to knowledge. And I dare you to use your imagination. I dare you when you're broke to use your imagination. I dare you when you're rich to use your imagination. I dare you under every single circumstance. Keep dreaming. Keep focusing on your dream. Keep going after the dream because that's where true success is.
There is not a day that I wake up that I don't feel like going back to sleep or that I don't have anxiety about what my day is going to bring. And you know what I do? I wake up and I go handle it.
And you have to understand, if you don't execute on the plan, if you don't get up in the morning when you're feeling tired, scared, if you don't execute, you're not just cheating yourself. You're cheating your family. You're cheating your employees. You're cheating your team, whatever you're a part of.
Your biggest enemy is you. It's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
I need you to confront you because you're the one holding you up. I need you to look in the mirror and tell you, you are not going to do me like this no more. You're not going to continue to sabotage me. You're not going to keep procrastinating. You're not. You know you should be further in life, but you keep letting you slide. Hold you accountable and don't let you off the hook.
If for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, what would you be like? What would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. You have no idea how efficient people get.
I want you to challenge you the last quarter of this year to do something you've never done before, to have something you've never had before. They're not going to give it to you, but if you're willing to get up every day and go take it, if you're willing to get up every day and work for it, if you're willing to get up every day and grind from sunup to sundown, you can have the life that other people dream of.
I don't negotiate with myself. Most of us come out here, we explain away why we can't do shit, and we stick in this negotiation process in our mind. You can't negotiate these things. They're definites.
If you really want to change your life, do so by learning how to be gritty. Do so by learning how to be resilient. Do so by showing up time after time after time after time, long after everybody else has lost interest in showing up, and you will get where you want to go.
Just keep pushing forward. With enough action, any goal can be achieved.
Everything that is great comes from being in a position of uncomfortable. And if you can get used to being uncomfortable, your fucking limits are non-existent.
There are no shortcuts. There are no hacks. If you want to take the easy road, I promise you it's longer and more painful than the hard road. Choose the hard path, the path of responsibility, hard work, and sacrifice, the path of discipline, humility, and ownership that ultimately leads to freedom. It won't be easy. It will demand everything you've got to give, but you can do it. Discipline equals freedom. That's not a contradiction, it's an equation. Discipline is the path to freedom. Discipline is the driver of daily execution. Discipline defeats the infinite excuses that hold you back. Make discipline part of your daily life, and your daily life will get better.
What is this thing that we call happiness, and what brings us happiness in the short and long term? In fact, we could probably point to happiness as one of the most sought after states or commodities or emotions, whatever you want to call it. Happiness is what many people are seeking in work, in relationships, and in general. And yet most of us can't really define exactly what happiness is or means for us. We can point to certain experiences, we can try and describe our states of mind and body, but most people recognize the feeling when we have it, and we certainly recognize the feeling of not being happy whether or not that means simply not being happy as the absence of happiness or all-out depression. Let's talk about happiness, this thing that everybody seems to want, and yet not everybody can agree upon what exactly it is or how to get it. So for instance, if I tell you I'm feeling pretty happy, I know what that means for me, at least in this moment, but you don't really know whether or not it means the same thing as what pretty happy means for you. If I say I'm extremely happy, I have a big grin, I have a grin on my face that I can't seem to wipe off my face, well then you might get a sense of how much happier I am than pretty happy, but it's still hard to calibrate my level of internal state or happiness. And the same is true for you and for everybody else. It's been discussed many, many times that the total amount of income that an individual makes or has, and again, this could be income from work or it could be money that they inherited, does not seem to directly relate to their level of happiness. The amount of happiness does not scale with that income. That is, for every additional $1,000 or $10,000 that they earn, they don't report being that much happier on a daily basis. Now, that said, I venture the argument that while money truly cannot buy happiness, it absolutely can buffer stress. And in particular, it can buffer stress in the form of the ability to purchase or pay for goods and services. Most of you have probably heard about the general conditions for obtaining happiness. And they always seem to circle back to some of the same basic features of get great sleep, have great social connection, pursue meaning, don't focus to any overextent on things like pursuing money, because there are indeed these studies that show that the amount of money that people makes does not necessarily scale directly with happiness. People's happiness does not necessarily scale with income. In fact, it tends not to, past a certain level. And yet, I think we'd be remiss, I think actually it would be inappropriate for me to say that the amount of income that one makes is not important. Because if the amount of money that you happen to have or are making does not allow you to meet your basic needs of shelter, healthcare, etc., and or doesn't allow you to access the kind of social interactions that can renew and reset, or I would say directly enhance the kind of neurotransmitter systems and hormones that lead us to feel that we are happy in our life and we're having quality social connections. Money cannot buy happiness, but it certainly can buffer stress. And one of the ways that it buffers stress is by allowing options of different kinds of social interactions, options of different types of recreation that one can engage in to access new forms of social interaction, and so on and so on. No one on their deathbed says they wish they had worked more. Well, indeed, the total amount of time that one spends working does not seem to determine one's happiness. We have to be careful with how we interpret these blanket statements that have become very popular, that money doesn't determine happiness and that the amount that you work isn't going to determine happiness. It certainly is the case that if you earn more money from working more, and that money is devoted to things that bring more opportunities for social connection or for buffering stress in other areas of your life, including healthcare, care for your children, care for yourself, recreation, other things that you enjoy, well then I think it's a little bit naive to assume that work itself is somehow counter to happiness, which of course it isn't. And it especially isn't if we combine that feature of work with another important feature of the human psyche, which is this notion of meaning. The big factors that determine happiness. It's going to be social connection, not income. It's going to be the amount of time that you are able to have open thinking and creativity, which I think is an essential feature of happiness, by the way. Physical health, in particular, one's ability to stay mobile and to be able to access the kind of daily activities that one needs to accomplish unassisted is a strong correlate of happiness, and so on and so on. Where people in their 20s report being very, very happy, but as time goes on and they acquire more responsibility, so typically getting married and having children in their mid to late 20s and 30s and into their 40s, having more work demands, etc., happiness tends to be rated lower and lower, at least in those previous studies. And then happiness tended to increase as people approach their 50s and 60s and they tended to retire, and their work demands were shed from them, and they were able to enjoy the small things of life, despite the fact that in general, I would say almost always, people's health is not as vigorous when they're 70 as it is when they're 20. There are exceptions to that, of course, and of course you can adjust the rate of cognitive and physical decline, but in general, people in their 20s feel more physically and mentally vigorous than they do in their 60s and 70s, in general. Many of us have heard about meditation. Many of us think about meditation as a mindfulness exercise, mindfulness in quotes, because that itself needs definition, but as perceptual or focus-based training, which is really what the data point to. Notions around consciousness and states of mind are very hard to define, but it's very clear that even a 5 minutes a day, or ideally an up to a 13-minute a day meditation, can greatly increase our ability to focus, and for a wandering mind is an unhappy mind, also make it very clear that the ability to refocus again and again and again on what we're doing throughout our day, regardless of what we're doing, can have a very dramatic, in fact, a statistically significant increase on our levels of overall happiness. Social connection can and should come in various forms, and when I say various forms, I mean forms of brief interaction, more superficial interaction, and forms of deeper interaction. All of those are relevant to our states of happiness, and there's research to support that daily interactions with somebody at a cafe, or just a brief hello or a smile, provided that we are both present, where we make the effort to be present to those interactions, however brief they are, can have a positive effect on people's overall well-being, and not just in that moment, but consistently. People are willing to explore certain topics with you. You're willing to hear them and listen really carefully for what they're saying, and they're willing to hear and listen to what you're saying in an attempt to understand. That certainly can enhance the sense of social connection, leading to what people would call social bonds, leading to increased happiness. If you want to increase happiness, you need to have quality social connections. And if you want to have quality social connections, you need to be present and engage in those social connections. And that requires a viewing of each other's faces, ideally, which is not to say that a phone call or text exchange can't be meaningful, but that faces are really the most powerful way to engage in social contact, and that eye contact, not consistent eye contact, but eye contact of the sort that builds up and then breaks and builds up and breaks across the interaction, is going to be the best way that we are aware of to feel that one had a real connection. That focusing on the choices we've made and really investing in those choices as good ones or great ones, and really trying to limit our thinking to the choices that we've made once we've made them, is perhaps also important to our natural happiness, because it's so inextricably entwined with what we think of as a good life. And what I mean by that is, if we are constantly in a mode of evaluative decision making even after we've made a decision, we are not neurochemically nor psychologically able to extract the feelings of happiness associated with the choice that we made. Working on being focused on whatever activities you happen to be engaged in, positive or negative, is known to increase your levels of happiness. Again, focusing on the choice that you made and making the best of that choice, especially since you made that choice in a way that you deemed best at the time, well, that also is known to increase your overall levels of happiness.
Why do some people end up courageous when so many don't? It's easier not to. It's easier to cut corners and not bear your responsibility, not take the opportunities that manifest themselves to you, not pay for your sins in the moment. It's easier, and so there's 1,000 or 1,000,000 ways that you can be dishonest.
If I'm not great at it, it must not be my thing. Did you know that only 1% of people are naturally, extraordinarily gifted at something? Think genius, think savant. Do you know what that means for us, the other 99+% of people? If we're going to do anything great in this life, it is going to require discipline. That's the truth. If you are going to accomplish anything extraordinary, it is going to require you pushing through the discomfort and embracing the grind.
Success is a strange thing. Presumably we want success because we think a more successful life will bring us more happiness, meaning and fulfillment. Here's the problem. We sacrifice the thing we want, happiness, for the thing which is supposed to get it, success. Failure can make you miserable, but I'm not sure that success will make you happy.
Through that struggle, I will now have a better day, and I better can do it again tomorrow, or do something else, because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just gonna coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello sadness, my old friend. Hello depression, because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit, and that's just part of being a human being.
Just be calm. When things are going well, be calm. Don't think you're on top of the world in the sense you always got to be wary, because I've seen it. I've seen people come. I've seen people go. I've seen them come. I've seen them go. You got to be chill. Just take what's good in your life and move forward cautiously and carefully. And thank God that you have that. It's very, very important not to overextend yourself when you think you got it. Everybody's dispensable.
You might be tempted to think that laziness is the lack of a desire or the lack of drive. It is not that. Laziness is an intense drive. It's an intense desire. The reason that you hoped that the roads would freeze last night is not because you don't have a desire. It's because you had a desire to what? Stay in your PJs all day, sit by a fire, and binge on Netflix. You have a desire to be comfortable. Laziness is driven by a deep desire for comfort. It's that I don't want to do anything that I don't want to do. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. Human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.
Why can't I just do whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want to do it with whoever I want to do it with? And the answer is because everything goes to hell if you do that, including you. And you say, well, I don't believe in hell. And I say, well, keep acting the way you are and you will. If you're motivated by the whim of the moment and you place that above all else, that is now your God.
Here's what you should know about winning before you chase it. Winning's not loyal to you. It doesn't care about you. Winning doesn't care how sore you are. Winning doesn't care how much sleep you get. Winning doesn't care how hard you work at times. Winning requires all of you and then more, and it promises you nothing. It's a mastermind of creating fear and doubt in your mind. It causes setback after setback. So the question is about winning. Are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown?
You won't need that rest. Chances are you will realize that the desire to rest was just weakness. It was the desire to take the path of least resistance, the downhill path, the downward path.
You aren't given any breaks in life. You make them for yourself. We are all being tested in life. While my test is different than yours, you will be tested. And how you face that test and how you overcome that test determines the rest of your life. The one mentality that you must have in life is that regardless of what's in front of you, you still must grind.
Is with your life, what are you giving up? Not by your words, not by what you say, not by the perception of you, not by what you type, not even necessarily by how you're living, but the truth about you.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say, what's one thing I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? You'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one.
I'll never be in the Olympics. I'll never be a professional athlete, but still I grind. I feel at most things I do, but still I grind. I don't want to do everything I do, but still I grind. And that one day, you see me down a dark alley, running at 1 o'clock in the morning, no one thing. I was grinding. Stay on.
As a child, my parents always told me you could be whatever you want to be. You could do whatever you want to do. And it was something, I heard my parents saying it, but I didn't totally believe it. Yet I went out in the world and I carried myself and I held my head high and I stood there and I looked people in their eyes and I talked to people as if I was deserving of everything that this planet has to offer. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
So you see all these people that have great things in life that you look up to? It's because they were sacrificed and disciplined long before you ever knew them.
Whatever it is that you want in life, you've got to work for it. And if you put in the work, the thing that you wanted will automatically appear. Because work manifests results. The results that you have are a direct correlation between the work you put in. If you don't like the results, then clock back in. There's more time on the clock. There's still things to be had.
Who are you when the lights turn off? When the cameras stop recording, when the music fades, or when all the fans have gone home? Who are you when no one is around to tell you what to do or what not to do? Who remains? My character is what remains when I am left with no one else but the man looking back at me in the mirror. Every day presents an opportunity to practice your character, to practice integrity.
And I think most people want to believe that there's all of these secrets to winning, because as long as it's secretive and they don't do it, then they've got an excuse as to why they haven't won. But what if the truth is, there really aren't any secrets? There just really aren't. That we all sort of really know what we need to do to win. But what it comes down to, that little thing, that separator that's too scary to talk about, is our willingness to do those things and the consistency with which we do them.
Our emotional fitness is what allows us to push through when life gets hard. The emotional fitness in us is the thing that continues to drive us forward when something else is trying to push us back. My emotional fitness is the thing that if I focus on and get in the right place, it will pull me through the opportunities that are created throughout your life. So when that stuff happens, and it's going to because the enemy gets a vote, when those things happen to me, if my emotional fitness is where it needs to be, then I pull through and I'm better on the other side because of it.
Complaining about what you don't have, don't allow yourself to say, I'm tired. You're going to be tired anyway. So you might as well give yourself a sense of satisfaction. And satisfaction only comes when you put in the work. You cannot celebrate the championship you never fought for. You have to put in the fight.
You've really got to be obsessed with what you want to accomplish. And so if I could get you to understand, that's going to be the ride of your life, but you have to get obsessed. And the only reason that obsession is fun is because you actually know you're going to make progress.
But as some great men and women have said before me, character and integrity is not something you inherit. These are things you practice. These are muscles that can be trained, disciplines that can and should be followed. See, we are all made for greatness. We all have the makings to achieve incredible success. But straight and narrow be the path to success. And fewer there be that choose to walk it. Why is the path so narrow? Because the temptation to abandon one's character, to be the ideal in the public eye and a puppet when the curtain closes, is ever present.
When you put in the work, you put in the grind, you put in the blood, the sweat, the tears, you can expect
that someone else has done the same thing, but the one who outworks the other, the one who will finish a round with flurry, the one who will put in that time. It's the work that brings about the result. Think, operate, move with purpose and intentionality. Remember that there's a game plan and that this is not about a sprint. It's about the marathon of life.
You can't do something when you feel like it. You can't do things on the days that you feel great. Separator isn't who's more motivated. It's what do you do on the days that you are not motivated, that you are not inspired? Do you have the habits and rituals and disciplines, the guts, the grit, frankly, to step up and do the things that you know you need to do all the time, not some of the time? And when you stack up those all the times, those are the inches that you fight for that separate the greats from the average, the ones that become the best ever, the GOATs in their industry.
Perhaps you even wrote yourself off. But I'm here to tell you, if you still have breath in your lungs, if you put your hand on your chest and feel a thump underneath, that pen you used to write yourself off with still has ink, which means the story is still being written. The story isn't done yet. God has a plan for you. He laid the path for you, but He can't make you walk. He can't make you get out of bed, and He won't hand it to you. You have to be the one to pick up the pen and write. Write the story of your life using the gifts placed within you. That voice quietly calling you, you answer it by using your gifts.
You'll never get what you want out of life. You're never going to accomplish the things that you want unless you are obsessed. Obsession will hurt and it will be unhealthy unless you realize that you can get better. Far better to focus on, did I leave it all out on the field today? Value yourself for how hard you went after something, not for what you accomplished. And then let yourself get obsessed with something.
When you finally get to the destination, you'll be thankful for the work you put in.
The time has come for you to disappear and get to work. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been distracted for far too long. You have been surrounded by so much negativity, and you have let yourself go. You have not put yourself in a position to do better so that you can be better. It's time for you to let go. It's time for you to disappear. It's time for you to get focused. Sometimes you just got to escape and get away. Get away from people. Now, I'm not telling you to get away from the people that matter in your life. I'm telling you to get away from the people that's holding you back, that's keeping you down, that's not lifting you up, that's not giving you the strength that you need to stay focused, to stay driven, to stay disciplined. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't always have to be around people to get things done right. We must sometimes separate ourselves from everybody else so that we can be more focused, so we can be more in tune with ourselves. We get lost, we feel alone, we feel that we must have a need to have someone to validate who we are inside. But we really don't need that at all. What we need is to pay more attention to what matters in our lives and what we must do as individuals to make us better, so that we have the mental fortitude to carry on and do what is right for ourselves. But you can't work productively if you're always distracted, if you're angry, if you're sad, if you're miserable. So what is it that you need to do? Perhaps you need to just stop watching things on television that may distract you. Perhaps you need to stop showing up to work and letting other people get inside your mind and in your heart and taking you away from yourself. Or maybe you just need to take a walk and find some peace in your mind. Work, effort, purpose, will. This is what is needed. This is how you get through it. But if you got a bunch of negative noise surrounding you, if you got a bunch of negative things happening around you, you'll never be able to see the promised land. You'll never be able to see the truth within yourself. There's no reason for you to be down on yourself. There's no reason for you to feel sad about yourself. I understand we all have that tendency of thinking that we're less. But in reality, we are so much more. But we got to believe in ourselves. And we have to escape the negativity. We have to escape the doubt. We have to escape the evil. We have to be positive within ourselves. There are going to be many days that you will have to face things that are not going to be what you want it to be. There are going to be many days when you just don't feel you have the strength to carry on. There are going to be many days when you just want to give up. But you know that you cannot. You must understand that you have to escape. Just get away so that you can work a little bit harder. Get away from the things that are not going to give you what you really need. Get away! Run away from those things that have held you back. You didn't feel that you had the strength to come back. You got to believe and know there is something that is special about you. But if you're not willing to separate yourself from all of these things that are surrounding you, these people, the negative energy, the doubts, you're never going to see it. You're never going to see your potential. You're never going to see your true strength. You're never going to understand who you are. You're never going to know your truth because you've been too busy living a lie. Escape. Get away. Find a place that no one else can find you. Find a place within yourself that no one else can touch. Find a place of peace, harmony. Be able to recognize your purpose. Be able to believe once again in you when no one else believes in you. Be the person that believes in you yourself. No one deserves to take that happiness from you. Don't give people that much power. Don't give negative energy that much power. You are powerful. You are strong. And you got to have the capabilities. You got to have the will. You got to have the wisdom to stand on what you believe in. And make no mistake, you will always be under attack. Someone is coming after you. Someone doesn't want to see you happy. Someone wants to take you out of the game. But you're stronger than that. You have more to give than to lose. Give it all you got. Believe in yourself. Work towards the greatness that you have within you. Look up and see your true potential. See what you are capable of. Know what you are capable of. Fight for what you are capable of. Just keep it moving. Your business is work. Your life, it's work. Your purpose, it's work. But you gotta know how to escape. You got to get away from the things that are holding you back. Truly want to see the best of yourself. Put yourself in a better position. Put yourself in a higher position. Don't make it out that you're better than anyone. No one says that you're better than anyone. But you can be the best of yourself as long as you believe in yourself. Keep your mind focused on what makes you better. Keep your mind focused on what makes you stronger. Don't you dare let anyone get you out of your game. This is the fight of your life. You have to work. You have to trust it. You have to stand up. You will not bow down. You will not give up. You will work. You will push. Give everything that you have for today and for the rest of your life.
I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen.
Life happens. The unexpected, the uncalled for, the unintentional. We've been damaged emotionally, damaged spiritually.
It may be your business. It may be your heart that is broken today. It may be the number in your bank account that is screaming, you are broke.
You can break physically, you can break mentally, you can break your heart, you can break your spirit, and all of those are going to leave a mark. But the mark that they leave can be the mark of victory, or it can be the mark of fear.
It is staying with the breaking that produces the blessing. It is not what you go through that determines where you end up. It's who you listen to. Because I think right now, you are walking through a valley between two voices. One is wisdom, one is word. One is gratitude, one is grumbling. One is blame, one is faith.
Because every time you break, and in every way that you break, while it's a chance for you to give up and for you to fall apart, but there's also opportunity. Get stronger, get smarter, and get faster, and get tougher, and get more stable, and get more resilient, and get better.
What I need you to do is I need you to find a reason to keep going. And if you can find a reason to keep going, I know you're strong enough to do it because you're human. And every human has what it takes to get past whatever they're going through if they decide to. Push through it. Push through it. Tragedy and trials come to everybody. Only the strong survive.
The fight isn't over. The fight is just beginning. You have the opportunity to show the world what you are really made of.
I need you to look at that sickness that's going on in your life right now, whatever it is. I want you to say, I can beat it. I can beat it. I will beat it. I must. I got a family to live for. I ain't through yet. My life ain't over yet. There's some things in life you don't need no degree for. You don't need no money for it. You don't need no support for it. There's something in life you just gonna get through when you tell yourself, I'm gonna get through this.
Regardless of what happens to you in life, regardless of the adversity, regardless of the opposition, regardless of the trial and tribulation, nothing can stop you. The only thing that can stop you is you. No situation, no circumstance, no piece of adversity can define your life. Never let a circumstance define you.
And I'm not retreating. I'm not running. I don't care what they say on paper. I don't care if you say we outnumbered. We live by this and we die by this. We don't retreat. We don't run. We gonna stand, we gonna live, we gonna die by what we stand for, and everybody gonna know what we represent and what we're part of.
I got staying power. I got staying power.
Be encouraged today that no matter what you walk through, no matter how broken your marriage is, no matter how many times you failed,
there is within you a spirit that is greater than whatever is going on around you.
If you would be willing to fight your way through this battle, fight your way through cancer, fight your way through that academic struggle, fight your way through divorce, fight your way through it. If you are willing to fight your way through that singing career, fight your way through boxing, fight your way through football, I'm telling you, at the end of the fight is going to come victory.
And as you crawl up and out of that dismal and wretched place, as you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.